Right. Here we go. I can't do the music back to back. I love our song, Joe. But it is time for the show. Whoa, Joe, you're blacked out. I think when you left the chat earlier, looks like they gave us a new link. So while you adjust your camera, I'm gonna. Give it a little refresh, and you are in now. You are in. You are in. There we go. Hey, Joe, I swear to you, it will never be the same problem, right? I'll find new and novel ways to make sure that we are never live at exactly 6. But I appreciate you always being the man. And I was prepared. I was prepared to have just a conversation with you and I today, but out of nowhere, you told me you got a guest. You got a surprise guest, and I didn't know. I had no idea until a little bit ago when I saw the meeting. So I am super excited we have a guest.
Yeah, exactly. So as much as I like to talk only with you, it's always better to have someone to enhance the conversation, to bring new ideas and to bring new thoughts about RPA, about automation, about technology, or whatever it is that we have to talk. And today we have I would call him a superstar, right? Because he has a huge following.
Yep.
And I appreciated all his contribution to the community. And I've seen his contribution, his videos and everything else. I met him in person during the summit back in July, which was amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing conversations already back then. So yeah, very, very pleased to have him in the show.
Great. Well, I'm going to do the drum roll. Before I start, though, I am also excited that he's here. I know he's literally trained hundreds of people in getting the interview and passing the interview and getting jobs, right? So he has all sorts of knowledge. Can't wait to pick his brain, talk about stuff. As usual, we're not going to give him any pre-questions, right? So I'm going to give a drum roll. You give the name, and we'll transition.
Welcome, Patrick. How are you, man?
What's going on? Welcome, brother. How's it going?
No, I thought like it will be like so smooth, but it's like super ride that we are having, like we are going with.
Absolutely. We love to keep it live. But VJ from Verjang, yes, absolutely. And I have had the pleasure to meet Verjang last year at the MVP Summit. Right, we had a chance to meet for the first time, and I was really impressed, absolutely impressed with your background. So for those of listeners who are either here live or that are going to listen to the podcast on Spotify who don't know you yet, I'd love, as I crack this Corona that I'm about to take a drink of, I'd love for you to share the listener in on a little bit about your background. How did you get where you are today, helping so many people get jobs? I'd love to hear a snapshot of the Vajrang story.
Sure. Well, it started around 2015-16-ish, where I'm like that's a requirement for me to go ahead and upskill myself into RPA, specifically in UiPath. That's when this started. And, well, I used to I was a .NET developer or a C# developer.
Nice.
I think that's helped me. That's helped me during the transition period. But the moment I wrote my first line of code and I was able to click on that button or click on the other applications where I don't have idea about how to do that. Well, I can write the code to definitely go and or pull out some reports and write some automation. Write some applications. But going into a different application, logging in, and instead of me doing it, my bot filling all my timesheets. That's my first bot, literally speaking, because we used to have a deadline that timesheets must be filled on a specific date. If that's not done, then there will be a pay cut. Now you need to wait for you need to wait for 40 more days to get it reflected back. Now that's when bots saved me, and that's the time I fell in love with my bots. Okay, this is something interesting.
Yeah. Well, I had a question too. Before you continue, what was your first tool that you used to build that bot? Was it the famed UiPath that we love today, or was it? Did you get started in something different like I did?
No, I fell in love with UiPath, and that's the first tool that I worked on.
Okay, nice.
Love at first sight.
I was gonna say that. That's so true.
But you
Yeah,
didn't know you didn't work with any other programming languages before UiPath?
yeah. I worked on C Sharp and .NET, HTML. I built the like
Hmm.
you see Mars.com, confectionery brand. There will be some piece of code that I have written in that.
Oh, nice. Which one, like the online app that you use for MasterCard, or just on the website, or what?
It's the Mars website, like the confectionery, like M&M,
Oh, Mars,
as well as
nice. In the website, oh, beautiful. So definitely true .NET. You were building, websites and applications too. That's cool. So, everybody, when we were younger, and I'm going out on a ledge here, right, saying that you're not, in your teens or early 20s, everybody told us go get into IT, get into coding, and so I've seen the internet completely explode, right? You think about WebGL and all of this new web stuff. What sort of, obviously you had some love for automation, but what made you jump across the fence, right? I think you could have had an amazing career building websites if you got an early start with a place like Mars. What kind of convinced you to not go back? What tied you into doing RPA?
well, if I would have stayed in building websites, I wouldn't have scaled up like this, I guess.
Okay.
So maybe I have a different mindset to automate things and to make things quicker rather than sitting and writing some logic to build some businesses or to build some websites. But
Yeah.
automation is what caught my mind as well as caught my interest during that time. Well, it's a path of destiny, I would say, that led me to for such a long career.
Yeah, and let's double click on that a little bit too. You mentioned, the RPA versus .NET, and what you would be building and doing. That RPA gave you an opportunity for scale and scope. What does that mean? Like, can you explain to somebody who's, considering career paths, what kind of scale would you get as far getting into the RPA space? What does that even mean?
Well, think RPA, robotic process automation is what the general convention or the naming expansion is. But to me, automation is something that will help you to work lesser, to enjoy more, and to make sure that all your activities are in place where you are not involved in. That's what my definition for automation is. It makes the life so easy for us. So, we always think on a perspective of gaining um, monetary benefits on the initial stages. Well, I think that's not what I initially thought about. Like, this is something cool. Like, I'm able to click something, I'm
Yeah.
able to share it with my team, and well, there is one scenario where I used to lead a team of around 5 to 6 members, and there should be one button that no one should click, and that no one should
Why?
click
Why?
because that's a business scenario. You should not process that orders,
Yeah. Okay.
and like it's a human tendency to test what's there in that
It
button.
is. It is. It
It's
is.
it's a human tendency. Like there are multiple escalations that happen. Like we don't know what to do, and I got an idea. Like, what if we run the bot, like instead of you asking a user to click on that button, let a bot do it for you. Let a user do whatever he does, but clicking of that button and working on that button. I cannot write a new code, I cannot ask my client to write a new code, but I can definitely deploy a bot. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do it. And I deployed it to 5 members, and from then I think for the next 6 months still I am there in the place of the team. We didn't have that escalation, and that's what helped me. And whenever someone clicked it, it runs in the background. I used to get a notification stating that this person tried to click this button. Then it's like something that helped me to monitor the work as well as to give a better output. That definitely helped me.
No, I love that too, right? Because I've seen this as a gap in sometimes where we have developers and analysts gather the requirements. It's very easy just to not translate into a very good process with automation, just to automate, what the steps were. But here you're thinking even, from an engineering perspective, also architecture, human engagement, how they react. And I think that that's such a lost art. One reason I think that's important is because there's a thing that we all know called, broken bot syndrome, right? And a lot of that is, when I'm able to actually look at what that occurs, the technical debt, and I go back in time and I trace where this stuff comes from, a lot of it generally stems from the scenario that you're mentioning that people don't think about. They're like, I told them to not touch the button. They're not going to click it, so I don't need to code around it. Well, hey, you probably do. You probably do. So that's brilliant on your part. But I have this thought because I love websites, right? So you really got me intrigued. And even when you said it, there was a smile on your face, right? It seems like the Mars website and those old glory days are still kind of close. But I know there's this satisfaction when you build a solution in RPA and they're quick and you get quick benefit. What's that like? Building a website, being a part of a larger team, but it takes a long time to get a solution versus RPA where you can build something and see the value quickly.
Well, it definitely brings in a lot of add-on to bring in the quick wins. Well, automation right now, though we are saying it's about the quick wins, but the platform evolution happened on over the period of years. Like we are not uh, too much checking on the quick wins. We are checking on the value that it's bringing on when we are doing a specific automation.
Yeah.
Well, those are the days we do have those days where we are looking for low hanging fruits,
Mm-hmm.
where we initially want to build some automation to show our manager like this is something that I have done
Yeah.
and this is the value that I bring in. But over a period of time, after a couple of months, like you will be you cannot get only the low hanging fruits for years together. Like, you just
Yeah,
need to
that's true.
you just need to scale up. You just need to understand what are the process, and you just need to understand what is the bigger picture.
Yep.
So that definitely helped me to understand even building some automations. I can see how order to pay or value or
Mm-hmm.
else um, the way how clients are getting reports, or the way how users are able to get the information at a point where they want it. They need
Mm-hmm.
not wait for they did not like let's say that there is a business analyst who need to summarize a 10-page document,
Mm-hmm.
or a 10-page excel sheet, or 10 sheets of excel, and
Yep.
finally should give a report. Now it's everything is in the hands of a user who wants it.
Yeah.
It's there for him,
Mm-hmm.
and it will bring in a better benefit when a user has a power to do what he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what helped the automation platform also to grow.
Yeah, you have to have positive sentiment too, right? I think that's really important. And I don't want to. I have some interesting follow-on questions, but I think I see the wheels in Joe's brain turning. What part of this story is sticking out to you so far?
Well, again, just by listening to you guys, it's kind of a lesson to me, right? Because I love to hear this kind of stories and
Mm-hmm.
learn from it. This is one of the reasons why we put this podcast together. But wha- one thing that I was trying to wrap my mind around was the scalability, right? And this is something that I am very interested because I come from a big organization and we have thousands of potential users, right? Actually, thousands of users. So what is your take on the scalability of the automations? Because if I create like you were saying, a website, that's also very, very scalable, right? I can create a website for 5 users, or I can scale up for 1,000, for 10,000, 100,000, or million users, right? But how do you see the scalability of bots? Is it something easy to do, or is it isn't?
Well, when we are building some websites or we obviously need to depend on a end user to
Hmm.
go and come and look into our website to get some value out of it.
Hmm.
Now the bots on the other hand is user driven. They want the bot to be built, they want some part of the activity to be automated, they
Hmm.
want the time back. Now we are not depending, or we can say that we are not depending on an external user to see the benefits, but someone who is really looking for benefit is trying to build the bots, or someone who is really looking for benefit is the person who is asking for automation. And
Right.
even if you build a website, I know that every business right now, even I have a website, and I need to show that to my business user. Well, having only a website may not give you better outcome. You also need to have some process in the background, you also need to have some automation in the background, and there is a lot of stuff that's happening. Simple example that I can give, now I do train a lot of people.
Hmm.
Now, let's take an example. Like I just have a website where it's not functional, it's just a static page. Like web 1.0 is what we can talk now. If they need to connect back with me, or if they need to, if they don't have a click to action when they are seeing something on the website,
Hmm.
um, then it will not be a better experience for a user. But if there is some click to action, or there is some action that a user can take, and well, after a user takes, the time to reflect back to a user is also very important. Now at a website level, yes, I'm able to I can get the traffic, I can showcase my skills to the users. But at the background, to showcase that skill, there must be a lot of automations that I need to run. I can have 10 different people to continuously monitor the incoming messages as well as the incoming requirements, or I can have one single bot that can work 24 hours for me and can do automations. Now, when you're saying scalability, it doesn't mean that we need to bring in 10 different bots altogether at a time. Scalability also comes on a parallel path, or I would say on a horizontal path. Now
Hmm.
instead of automating one process, now I will automate two process. Now after automating two process, I will also automate three process. It's not always like how many bots you are able to deploy. For in my case, I just need only one bot. I need one bot that runs 24/7, but that one bot will not work only on one single activity. It can work on multiple activities, and it can work on multiple use cases. So that's a definition for me for scalability
Right.
for
Right.
use case.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's a very interesting point. But sorry, Jeremy,
no,
I
good,
do
good,
have
good.
to. I do have a following up question related to something that you started saying, which I felt a little bit different in my beginning. So here's the thing: you said that the user wants to see the automation. User wants to see the time saving. User wants the automation in production so they can benefit from it.
Yeah.
Now, what I experienced when I started was a little bit the opposite. Was actually quite the opposite. So I saw a lot of resistance to have the automation, to have that process automated. And even though we talked about this a couple of times, Jeremy, even though like I was
Yep.
there pushing and gathering the details and creating the automation, deploying, like it was in production, they wouldn't use. So that was so frustrating. So have you encountered that kind of scenario in your career, or was always, you know, was always
Easy
the happy
sell.
path? Easy sell.
Like out of 100% of the bots that we build, at least 10 to 15% we do see such use cases. Now those are the use cases that will help us to learn what not to do than what to do.
Hmm.
We need to do those things. We cannot say that okay, these are some use cases that didn't bring us value. They brought us value on letting us know what not to do.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
that's true.
that's what is helping us. Now when you're saying the business is not using it, now there will be two reasons why a particular process cannot be used. Number one reason, we are automating only a small part of it, where though we are showcasing a benefit, a user, when he's doing the work manually, he's finding it better using other tools. That's the one reason. And the second reason, the the process itself is so broken up that we try to pull in something, and like everyone will say that it's like a band-aid, but I would say that the wound is so big, like even if you try to add a small band-aid, that's not sufficient
Mhm.
at that point of time. Like, how will we get to know that it's not sufficient? Only when you deploy it into the production and when you see it of the after the outcome. Like, I would say that you should always do automations, and you should also expect that few automations may not work, and be ready for them not to work.
Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that all those points are valid, even back to your scaling, right? There's multiple ways to scale. You can scale horizontally, you can scale vertically. A lot of those are important. And so I'm actually kind of leaning on Joe's side when it comes to my experience, right? I've seen both. I've seen places where they're very supportive of automation, and I've seen places where literally you're getting the requirements and the nice lady that's been doing the claims process asks you if you're there to take her job, right? And she says, "Are you guys coming to take my job?" And so I've seen resistance, and I've seen all types of scenarios, right? And I think there's scenarios like you said. There's also scenarios where it's not a top-down driven initiative, right? Some sort of stakeholders are very forward-thinking, operational folks save some budget, and they know about RPA. They start building it, and then IT is like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what are you doing?" So I've seen a lot of resistance. I've seen a lot of people that support it, as a senior executive at a consulting company before, where I would pitch these, they could even give me a business case, and I can literally show them a CFO, the ones and zeros, that as soon as you build this, you'll save $2.8 million, and it only takes 3 months, right? And it'll be something super simple automation process, and it'll still take them 15 months to approve it. Right, or they won't approve it at all. So, I have some interesting questions, but kind of tied into that. What do you think's what's the most, if you're willing to share? If not, you can go flip the script. What's the most unsuccessful automation solution you've built, or what was the biggest like blow up? Or do you have a story in mind in your brain?
There is a recent one actually. Like there must be um, there is an automation, like they call it as an automation, but I said that this must not be automated. This need not be automated. Well,
Uh-oh.
few times we just need to do the things for the sake of doing them. It's okay,
Yeah.
even because we cannot prove only by our words. We just need to show them that, okay, if we don't listen to me, then you need to accept, and this is what will happen.
Yeah.
So you need to say okay and do few things, and that's what helps someone to trust you the way how you speak, or trust what you're saying on the next level. If you don't have that particular blocker, I think that definitely um, may not showcase your skill set and the way how you are thinking. Well,
Yep.
there is a use case that I would like to share. There must be an email that must be sent to 10,000, 15,000 people
Yep.
at once, and all of a sudden they are asking, okay, let's go ahead and build a bot for it, and the data will be maintained in some Excel sheet or Google spreadsheet, and there are too many things that must happen. Like, there is an API that we must use to send out emails, and all they are saying was, okay, this API will work. Well, it's tested internally, and it's tested internally only to send text messages, which is good to send text messages, but it's not ready for enterprise level public environment where we need to host images. Even just think about a newsletter. Now, we always think that newsletter, we are going to get it like you're just going to dump some images and just add some text out of it. But no, the moment you add big images, the size of the
Yeah.
emails will be bigger, and the scale of it will be bigger. And the moment you're saying that you need to send it to 15,000 members at one single shot, or 20,000 members at one single shot, that's when the size becomes very big. Like every email comes to around 1 MB, and if you are saying 1500, like 1500, 1 into 1500, it will be around a GB of data that must be sent over an API call. That definitely will not work. what if what if we are going to send 10 members at a time? Can we do that? Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you
but
can.
but what is the use? You are already using bulk emails in your, like you can just do add all the emails in an Excel, and you can do simple mail merge. That works for you. Why are you going with this automation? Like we need to read the data, we need to update the data, we need to append the data back, and
Yeah.
and they're not satisfied. Like the business is not satisfied, adding the data. They still need a lot of additions on top of it. The problem here that I have seen or understood was, though there is a standard process, the requirements are not fixed over here, or the use case is built on such a scale, like they just thought that okay, they need to we just need to send emails, but they haven't thought about where are you going to host the images, where are you going to host the see, every time you create a email newsletter, you need to write
Excuse
a
me.
HTML.
Yeah.
Now business users cannot write HTML. All they will do is they will just go and give us some data, and again there must be some other person who is a developer who need to convert the document into HTML back, and until a document is converted to HTML, you cannot send the emails.
Yep.
Now the
Stuck.
complete benefit of having automation is defeated in that place, because yeah, as I've said, the moment you started thinking about sending out a newsletter, from then you need to give at least 2 to 3 days only for making changes to that particular newsletter, because you cannot send one single newsletter every month for 10 to 20 years. Newsletter will be continuously updating, there
Yeah.
will be logo changes, there will be too many changes. Well, this is one such use case that I have encountered, and
Yeah.
what to say. I've clearly mentioned, like, this is not something that we can do with the resources that we have. There are already predefined tools, because there are already tools with which can do this activity. You just need to upload some emails and create something on
Yeah.
top of the canvas and click a button. That's done. Now if you want
Man.
to click me a button using automation, I can definitely do that.
Right, Joe. But I mean, you got to be familiar, right? What happens when the business dictates the architecture, right? Is that going to go well?
Oh, that goes south, I would say. Literally. Well, business definitely has to be part of the not the design, but they have to be part of the project as a whole, right? But yeah, the architecture is definitely something technical. I would say I wouldn't bring business folks to the design of the solution. I had some bad experiences with that. I don't know how much I can disclose here, but I would say bad solutions were designed in the past when business were actively engaged during the design, because they don't have the same mindset, right? They don't have the technical experience and background to think in a technical way. So
Yeah.
they just want their solution ready as fast as they can.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, even people like us, the experts, we don't necessarily, know all of what's going to happen if we try to build the solution that they want. I had a situation where I worked for a company. We were sending the same kind of mass emails, like thousands out, and it had to deal with like inventory data. So it would go into SAP. It would understand if there was, 12 pallets of something that was supposed to be delivered and they only got 10. And if it was past a certain date, it would reach out to the supplier and say, hey, you guys haven't sent us the last 2 pallets. And it's went through this list, and it had to deal with acquisitions and products and all of this kind of stuff, if you're familiar with that part of the business process. But long story short, we were sending these emails, we built it just like they wanted, and when we did the back check to make sure that the emails were getting sent out, because we put ourselves on the distro list, we noticed that random emails, like there would be hundreds just missing. hundreds of emails just missing. And we were like, and there was no, and when you tried to like back check to see if there was some sort of strata or some group that was getting, put in this category, it wasn't. We did research and turns out that there was an infrastructure block that only allowed our bots to even bulk send a certain number of emails every like 60 seconds. So after we hit that threshold, it would just, the next 50 emails you thought you sent wouldn't go out, and you would get no error. There would be no error. So yeah, some weird stuff happens that we don't know about. But if we know, and people like Verjing are telling you, or Joe is telling you, hey, like this is not going to work, probably advisable to listen, right? Probably advisable to listen to them. I mean, it's crazy. I have a situation I want to get both of your opinions on, right? So I was in an organization, USAA, a company with insurance, right? Vehicle insurance. I don't know if you're familiar. About 10 years ago, there was this big thing on the news about Tata airbags. Like the Takata, sorry, not Tata, Takata airbags. They were like exploding in cars and stuff, right? And so one of the things that USAA does with all of the customers they have in car insurance, somebody came up with this brilliant idea, since these airbags were just exploding, that we could build an automation, look at all of USAA's customers and identify which vehicles they had that defect on. Right? Because we had the make and model and the VIN number. And it sounded like this great idea, right? We could figure out some people who might be driving down the road and their airbag explode in their face and let them know to get, serviced. But what happened is they turned down the build of this automation because they said, as soon as we build something like this, there's a potential that our company can be held liable for knowing this information and not sharing it. Or if we miss somebody, now instead of the Tata company being liable, we knew, we didn't let somebody know, and now we're liable. So they said, we're not even going to build that automation. Do you guys think that was the right deal? If you have customers and their airbag might blow up in their face, do you think if you can build an automation, what do you think? Was that the right call? I'd love to get your guys' opinion on this scenario.
There are two ways of thinking with this particular automation. Now, who is asking for it? Now, if a user wants to ask for it, then he will definitely ask you to build that automation. But at the perspective of a business and a money machine, like someone who is looking for some money machine, like they are not looking for losses, or they are not looking for something that goes out of the moon and panics everyone.
Yeah.
And because that's a huge amount that they need to pay back, and they need to come back and correct a defect. It's not a software defect, it's a hardware defect.
Right. Even if it's not your company, but yeah. Joe, how about you, man? What do you think?
Well, that's goes back to the liability, right? So who is liable on that? And man, it's such a tricky question, because it depends which side of the coin you look at, right?
Yeah.
From one side, I would say build the automation and let all the customers know. But then on the other side, I see the liability on missing someone and then having some accident and potential liability against you. So it's a very tricky question. So I agree with Vajrang. So it depends on the customer side, who is asking for that, right?
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting scenario, right? Whoever came up with that idea, I think that's a very creative idea, right? A way to help your customer, but at the same time,
Now, there are two ways to think about it. What if you would have built that automation and you have extracted each and every piece of data where you can definitely know that these cars will be faulted, and you give it to the people who wants it, like who really care for it, like who should be who are responsible in calling them and saying, hey, hi, can I have your car for a check? Can you please bring it in? I would like to look at it. Since you're a potential customer, please come back and fix it and send it back. So that can also be done, but again,
it depends who is asking for that, right? Depends on the perspective, depends on the customer. That's totally true.
I don't. I definitely either way, right? I'm just glad I wasn't one of those people with those airbags. That's an unfortunate situation. But I want to kind of, if Joe doesn't have any follow-on questions, I want to pivot because I see you as one of the people with a lot of data on this topic in your brain, and I wanted to kind of open this area because I am very interested in this space, and that is the jobs market. Right? The jobs market itself. Now, you and I have had questions. We've had conversations about this topic offline, right? And so it's been a couple months. I've seen some positive trends on LinkedIn. I don't search any other platforms. I've been tracking data for about a month or two now. But what are you seeing, right? As someone who trains people and gives people jobs, what are you seeing right now? Love to get your opinion.
Okay, here is what we think. Now, initially, when the RPA market started, it gave a chance for developer, non-developer, business user, and everyone to come and try to automate or use the tool. Right now, the market is pretty standard or became pretty standard, and they're expecting someone who is technically good enough to handle those scenarios. Because initially, we have those low hanging fruits where we cannot hire a big developer to give an automation for you. That gave a chance for newbies as well as new developers. Like we just need to spend some $5 or $6 if you are in India for a fresher, and you can like instead of you working on it, make a fresher sit and work on it, let him come back. Even if it fails, maybe that will not cost him a lot. Now the market right now is I think this became pretty standard. They are asking for .NET, they are asking for
Yeah.
experienced developers, and all the I think you might have seen the job postings right now that are happening in the market. Even now when we are talking, the moment I search for UiPath, each and every job that I see is not expecting someone who is having less than 3 to 4 years of experience.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and search for it. Like they're just asking for someone with 5 years of experience, senior level or senior level. I think that's where the market previously was, and now it is not available. Now even if someone wants to reskill or upskill, like every time there is something there will be something in the market that is like a bubble.
Yeah.
Maybe at our period, like just few months or few years back, before the automation or hyper automation came in, it might be RPA. Now, I would not say that RPA bubble burst, but there is a huge scope for RPA. But the requirements to build RPA gradually shifted from no code developers to code developers or someone who knows code to give better automations. Now, you cannot expect someone who is having no skills with respect to coding to give a enterprise level automation which can work or which can scale up on a bigger level. Now, for that, you just need a senior developer. I think that's where the market right now is. Like we are not able to see too many jobs, or we are there is market. I would not say that there is no market for RPA. There is market, but it is for mid senior. It starts from mid senior level, and it goes to the architect level.
So, sorry, Jeremy, but
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So, are you saying that someone, a freshman, someone that has no technical background, if they want to start in RPA, they have to first get better in coding and then come to RPA? Is that what your
So
opinion?
what I would say is, even if they are coming to RPA, they should focus more on learning the algorithms. Like let's say that you are not interested in writing code, you don't know how to write variables, and you don't know, like, you can use UiPath as a development environment to create some automation, and maybe you can practice on top of it. If you remember, there is a tool called Scrappy, that actually brings like UiPath, like Lego like pieces, and it will create some tools on top of it.
Hmm.
Well,
Interesting.
the best the best thing about UiPath is it can connect with multiple different other tools, and you can see some automations getting done. Now, you cannot showcase that I have automated or I scraped the information, and you cannot keep it in your resume, and you cannot expect you to get a job at this point of time. That's no more a scenario right now in the market. That used to be a scenario. Like when I was trying to build some interviews, I used to ask people like, how will you create variables? How will you write arguments? Like these are the basic things we used to ask, and if they are able to answer, we used to take them and we used to train them. Now
Yeah,
business are not interested in retraining people or upskilling people. They want the value now.
yeah. I want to press you a little bit on this topic too, because I find it kind of fascinating. Right, I agree with you. First, the market is very tough right now, but where it's one of those things where I think that historically nobody really knew about RPA, right? 5, 6 years ago, even software developers didn't know about RPA. And so it was easy. There was a mass need and nobody knew. So just like you said, anybody who was willing to pick up the tool, demonstrate that you could use the tool, could get in. Now it's not like that. You're saying jobs are, they're looking for people with multiple years of experience. And I agree with this. I actually agree with that. I'm hiring for RPA developers right now. So I see this in real time. But I think that that's not a maturity of the market. I think that's a factor of the economy. I think that as many IT jobs that have flooded the market, you have tens of thousands of IT professionals, some that need a job or they will be sent back home to their home country because of the visa expiration. And these people have reached out to me for jobs. And I think that those guys will take any job. If you're a developer and you can build with RPA, it's an opportunity. So I don't think that the market has changed necessarily, is that it's been flooded with talent. Because I still see the need, but it's not where, hey, Jeremy, who is a BA but did a couple of builds, can get a developer role. You're not going to get it, right? Because you're going to be fighting against somebody like Joe, who's been building for 10 years and has a couple of years plus of RPA experience, and that's available. And if you get two options, to your point, I completely agree, because I know professionally, even a really good, and I had a buddy whose name actually was VJ, VEEJAY, who I started a program with, and he was a developer with a decade of experience, .NET, Visual Basic as well. And it still took him 4 to 6 months, not weeks, before he was building an enterprise grade solution, right? Because he still had to learn it. So if you take a new guy, it's going to take them time. But even core developers, I had to pressure you, like, even core developers, it'll still take time to speed up. So if you can hire a fresher or a newbie, it's, I don't think it's a bad idea. That's my opinion.
That's absolutely true. I'd like to add just one point. Like,
Sure.
There is now, as Jeremy mentioned, the market is flooded right now with developers who know multiple tools.
Yes. Ooh, I can't wait to hear where you're going with this. Keep going.
Now someone might be like there are multiple people who are into Blue Prism. All of a sudden, the Blue Prism market came down, and everyone are looking not for development, but they are looking into RPA industry.
Yep.
Now, there is no scale up, because everyone who left Blue Prism, they did not come back to a different tool. Might be 10 to 15% came to UiPath, or 10% came to automation anywhere. The market share went over there.
Yep.
But most of them left the market from RPA. They moved into different sectors. They moved into building applications to what they were already doing.
Agreed.
They moved into testing to what they were already doing. So the market, everyone thought to catch the market when there is a bubble, or when there is the hype.
Yep.
And that's when there used to be huge requirements that used to come in, and people used to go on a hiring spree, and like, I have a requirement now. I need to hire some 15 members. We don't know, because we purchase, and especially with UiPath have this licensing model where there is a lock-in period, and you need to purchase some specific licenses. Now, initially, I think it was much higher. then they were thinking, okay, now I bought this licenses. Now what should I do? I need to have more developers to build more automations to test it.
Yep.
Now this is not the time. I think over the period of time now, people started realizing that, okay, this is what I need to spend, and when I'm spending this, this is the return that I'm getting. And once they thought and understood, and now they are looking for the value, as I've said. Now people are looking for value for the requirement that they're posting.
That ROI. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually experienced that, right? In some interviews and positions that I applied for time ago, where, like, I am a core developer, right? I have experience with tons of programming languages. I fear no programming language. Give me any, I would just crack it open and just
Get it.
That's my core, right? Being a developer, even though I am a good communicator and I can deal with business people as well, but creating stuff, that's where I feel comfortable, more, right? More comfortable. And I would get on these interviews and people would say, oh, okay, so how many bots have you built? And I would explain them. Okay, so give me the details. And I would explain them. And, my thought was, okay, I nailed it, right? And later on, I would just come to know that, oh, we decided to no longer move with your application, right? And that happened a few times. And
did they ever tell you like what it was about? Were you overqualified or not enough experience? What is the?
Well, there were different situations.
Yeah, I guess company to pick them.
Yeah, a couple of them might have been that I was overqualified, but most of them I would say that they were needing someone with more development skills than I in the tool that I was applying for. Or sometimes not even that I applied, because you guys get this messages all the time on LinkedIn, right? People just send messages with positions, and I am always on, like, not always, but I hear people, right? I listen to what they want to say.
Yeah,
something good. Yeah, why not? And then they say, oh no, it's just a developer role. Then okay.
So I would like to add to that, like in RPA, we have a scenario, or we have something called a happy path. Now, in a RPA or in a solution, there can be only one happy path, and anything that's deviating from it is an exception. Now, even in jobs, in the interviews also, to get hired, there is only one happy path. Now, you need to fall in that happy path to get into that paycheck or payroll. Now, anything that's deviating will be exception, and you cannot go through that. So this is something that we can relate. Like I used to explain to my to the team that I train, like, understand where are you deviating, and not everyone will have the same happy path. Like there is a broad, like it's like a river. Now as the river gets bigger, you will have more time to float and more time to travel. So make the river bigger and try to float through the river so that you'll reach the destination, is what I would tell to the
so people. Important. You guys said something in there too, and if the listener wasn't quite paying attention, you might have missed it, right? You might have missed this. And that is, in today's economy, in today's environment, if you're a developer in this space, what I'm getting from there is make sure you maintain your roots. If you understand .NET and web development, make sure you understand the technology, because a lot of people will use this as a springboard and then go to a new opportunity. Second, if you're in this space, learn more than one tool. right? Diversify your put your nuts in a different basket, diversify your skill set. So like Vajrang said, you don't catch a round in your Kevlar. If you're just stuck on automation anywhere and then your company's no longer doing that and less companies in the market are doing that, then your prospects are lower. But if you're learning automation anywhere and you're learning Power Automate on the weekends, you're definitely continuing to future-proof yourself. So I took that away. I'm extrapolating here. I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth, but is that what I'm getting from what you guys are saying?
I would add one thing more. I agree with what you were saying.
Yep.
And I would add one thing more.
Okay.
You have to know what you want, right? If you
Beautiful.
want to be a developer, then go for it. Explore all the tools. As you said, go for Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath, whatever RPA tool. If you want to be a backend developer, learn C++, Java, SQL, all those kind of tools. SQL should be like a prerequisite for every developer. But anyway, not getting to that. And if you don't want to be a developer, that's all right. So go for it. Learn project management, learn business analysis, learn whatever that you want to learn, but focus on that. So going back to your question, why do I think that I didn't get those positions? Probably because I didn't want to be a RPA developer anymore, right?
Hey, valuable assessment. But you were about to say, I hit you up with the question too, of my interpretation of what's written in between the lines of the market that you've shared. Love to get, am I right? Am I off base? Am I close? What's your thoughts? Vajrang, what are you thinking?
I think you are on par with the current market scenario that's happening with what you have mentioned. Well, the market right now, I would not say it's volatile. It became standardized. Now,
Commoditized? Is that a...
Might be commoditized, and everyone wants a specific set of skills. And right now, like, they are not starting new ventures with RPA. They are already building, or there are already teams right now which are having some specific experience. They are going to hire the team, and they're going to get things rolling than starting things from beginning where they initially didn't have the experience. Like, the market itself don't have an experienced developer, especially in RPA development. Well, there is Selenium, for that you need to write code. Well, there is Python, for that you need to learn how to write code. Now, after coming with these AI tools, I think we are moving towards AI right now. Like, I'm a developer, but I would not say that I am a developer at an extent where I can like Joe, where I can learn each and every Python code and I can bring it. But something that helped me to do it is ChatGPT, as well as Google Automation. Google Bard or Gemini AI. Well, I'm proud to say that within one week, sorry, within one day, I was able to build an automation or build a tool. Maybe you can call it like a tool that can literally trim all the spaces within your video and give me editable
We need
video.
that.
We need that. Yes. We can be. We'll be board members. Yeah, exactly. We'll be partners.
Now, every single part that you don't need, like see, now when I'm training people, now if I'm not speaking, it means that's nothing happening on the screen. Either it will be silence, or someone might be typing in something which is not required for a video content. Like, if you watch the same video after some time, like, you cannot watch the half an hour video or 45-minute video or 1 hour video. Now you need that to be trimmed. Now, I used to have a person in India. She learned she learned editing for me, and for my requirement, I used to give her a video, and it used to take 1 day to 2 days time to get all the
The
spaces
edit.
removed,
Yeah, cut
and
it.
to understand, to cut it, and to come back. Now, I thought, why not do it? It's a simple thing that we must do. We need to get the Audacity, like audio
Yep.
levels. We need to see what level of audio is something that we should avoid,
Breaking
and
it
we need
down
to
to
do
a
that.
business problem. I love it.
Yeah, now, she stopped working for me due to her personal family reasons since past 1 month. But
Yes.
trust me, over the past 1 month with the tool, I was able to edit 60
Hmm.
videos, 60 plus videos, that I used to, we edited it over a period of
That's a
one
lot
year
of
time.
videos. Oh, it's
Yeah,
as that much you did for a year?
exactly. Because daily, thing like this, I record one video every day, so that's at least 200 videos per
Wow,
year.
man,
Wow, that's a lot, man.
that's a lot.
That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
Now, editing those videos, understanding those videos is pretty tough task to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a like the Gardner gentleman mentioned this to Bobby, the CMO of UiPath, right? And I agree. And you're already talking about it, right? There will be millionaires made who take this generative AI and this new wave of AI and figure out how to solve specific problems with it, right? And I think that this is incredible. I love the idea. And as we even mentioned, I think Joe and I is something that him and I are we would even be interested in. How do we take AI and chop up these? We're just getting in this journey, and if you don't build it, I think that I might even build it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So what I also think right now, that
Mhm.
market will eventually happen in the market. There is something called as IP or intellectual property,
Yeah.
where you don't, you cannot get access to someone else's code,
Mhm.
or you cannot get, even if you know something that you need to develop, you need to develop on a developer, you need to work, you need to sit with a developer, you need to depend on a developer earlier.
Yeah.
Now that's not the case that's happening in,
Mhm.
you have the environment that you can ask questions. You like, even something is not working, I can clearly know and understand within half an hour or 1 hour, like
Mm.
whether I need an
Mm.
expert developer to
Mm.
develop this thing, or can I do it for myself.
Yeah.
If
Speak.
I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that's the thing too, right? I've always been appreciative and respected people who understand that capacity and like can roll up their sleeves and do it dirty. To me, I know how you kind of talked about your love story for UiPath and how much you were drawn to the tool. One of the things that I loved about it, not having a computer science background, right, and coming in from a process engineering perspective, was how easy it was to maintain. When something like that breaks, usually in the context of business, it's something simple, right? It's like a selector or a web page changed. And RPA, I love the tool because you've built this big solution, and if it breaks, most of the time it's some small fix, and you can get it right back online. And you're kind of touching on that, right? I'm the same way when things break. Like, can I fix it? Does the business need to wait, necessarily for a week so I can get on the change release calendar? But no, I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
wasn't sure if
yeah,
you want to
oh,
grab the beer or what, Joe. I was checking
no,
in on you.
yeah. That's the problem with doing a podcast with beers, right? Because your
The
body
bladder.
has some calls, right? And you guys were in such a great discussion. I didn't want to disturb. I just mute myself, turn off the camera to
Yeah.
avoid any predicaments.
You're better than me because when I get to this way, right, I try to put you in the corner and I sneak off, right? So no, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
so I'm sorry about that, but hey, I don't know, man, but I just see that it's over 8 p.m. here Eastern time, and we didn't even start talking about AI. That was one of the most important topics that we wanted to discuss, and we didn't even start it.
The beer was the conversations were flowing like the beer was flowing. Joe, we didn't even get to ask him the question. Are you going to ask him that same AI agentic question you brought up? So he teed it up for us, and we didn't even ask it yet.
No. I would please ask you to leave that to me because last time was you. So
Okay.
Rajrang, so this is the thing. We are on a quest to learn more about AI, and one of the questions that we are asking every person that we talk to is, with all this AI discussions, agentic process, automation, UiPath trying to, bring AI to everything. Is RPA dead? Like, what are your thoughts on the RPA plus agentic process automation and AI?
Okay. Now the question about is RPA dead? Now, are you still using legacy applications or something that you want a quick wins for? The answer is always yes. And you cannot always hire a developer, and you cannot always have a AI to do your work. In some conditions, maybe there is a better option to go with automation, and RPA will definitely stay. Now, there is an example that I gave to multiple students that I would like to reiterate over here.
Yeah.
Let's say that you need to send out email to 100 different people or 10,000 different people. Now you're planning to write custom emails for each and every user. Till now, whatever we have done is trying to replace some keywords either with the names or either to check some like, okay, hello Jeremy, hello Joy, hello Virgin, and the same context we used to have. Now, something that I have developed using automation and as well as using AI is there is a form in my website where it will tell you if you are ready for a UiPath interview before you go for an UiPath interview and get rejected. So what did I do? I uh, I asked some basic 15 questions which are standard, and I've sent all the 15 questions, and each and every question is a yes or no question. And each and every question, I sent it to my AI model, and I generated custom message. Now, I am not replacing the name, but I'm customizing the message, and I am giving a personalized
Nice.
message to each and every person. Now, each and every
It's good.
person will have a different skill set. Each and every person will have a different option. Now, I cannot give same answer to each and every person. Now, I have the ability to personalize my services to each and every person, and that's what AI will bring
Love it.
in future. Is AI emails? No, it's not sending the emails. I need to use UiPath. Is AI reading the information from the Excel sheet? No, I need to have my automation to do that. Is AI feeding in the information to itself? No, my automation is doing that. Now, automation is bringing that personalized connection to a user that we were not able to build it before we have this generative AI in place. Now, if you are giving the tabular information, or if you are giving that pre-written context to a user, maybe at some point of time you will not be interested because it's not personalized for you.
Right.
What if each and everything that you see is personalized for you?
That would be
New
awesome.
power, a new level, right? Dude, there's nothing. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the inverse. There's nothing worse than getting a canned generic statement that was sent to 100 other people. There's nothing worse than that experience. When you get a customized experience that feels like even one sentence was tailored to your persona, to who you actually are, there is immense value in that. I love it, Vajrang. I don't think that, everybody's given us an answer. I think that RPA dead 0, RPA good and alive 13 so far. I think that out of everybody who has given us an answer, you put it brilliantly. The way you put it, like, AI ain't going to do this, AI ain't going to do that. It could, but if you're using AI to do that, you're spending way too much money. There's a simpler solution. So I love that. Hey, you got a chance to give it away. Vajrang, thank you so much on such a short notice for being on the show, having this conversation with us. Is there a shout out, taking the time? Is there a shout out? Is there a cause you'd like to, put on the map? Anything you're working on? The floor is yours. What's something you'd like to wrap us up with? Tell you something that you're interested in, or whatever you'd like to share.
I'm going to I got um, I'm not sure what to say. Let me just think it.
Yeah.
I registered my startup with Microsoft now,
Oh,
and
wow.
I got Azure credits to use all the AI models right
Nice.
now, and instead of me spending thousands of rupees, thousands of dollars, now I have the credits within my bucket now, and over the next period of 1 or 2 years I'll be using it, and I'll be trying to build those
Wow.
automations as well as build those use cases.
Yeah.
Now this actually helped me to understand a lot of new things. Like, even I try to like, if you try to see, there are more chantings in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
When we worship God, there are a lot of chantings that happens in the
Mm-hmm.
background.
Mm-hmm.
Now I as a user, or as someone who prays to God, all I know is, God, please take care. Struck me was, I recorded what priest was chanting, and I
Yes.
fed it to OpenAI, and I literally got each and every meaning of each all the words that he's
Yeah.
chanting. Like, this is
Wow.
like an enlightenment for me to understand what's not there previously and what's there for us now. Like, this is a new era that we are landing up in. Like, you will have answers, like you will have a person at a PhD level who can answer you to any question that you want. All you need is ask the right question.
I love that. And I even saw, speaking of this, if you guys don't follow Verzrong on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you do so. He's a man of his word. He's showing his true meaning right here, because you just posted something very similar where you shared cultural information that you took from GPT and you shared it with your community, right? You just posted something about the meaning of what some of that cultural significance is. I love it. I think it's amazing. Verzrong, Joe, my wife and son are going to kick in the door. You know, the time is calling. You guys, fast family men, you get it. This has been a pleasure, but I'm going to kick us out of here. Vajrang, Joe, thank you so much. I can't wait to have another conversation, and you're welcome back on the show anytime you want to be. You just let Joe and I know, all right?
I'm super happy and super excited to be on this show, and looking forward for all the conversation that we made, and looking
Yes.
forward for more such conversations. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I will give you a video. I will feed your video or whatever it's
Oh, there
going
we
online.
go.
I'm going to create, or I'm going to remove all the silences. I do hope that there are not too many silences, but I will
Yeah,
give you an output that you can
No,
use.
I love
we
it.
didn't have too many silent moments here, but yeah, we would appreciate your inputs on our editing afterwards. And Vajrang, thank you so much. I apologize for any technical problems, difficulties we had
Oh no,
here.
everything is fine. Everything is fine.
And
Everything happens
man,
so good.
we definitely have to book a second session because, again, we didn't even start talking about AI, right?
So true,
we
so
have
true.
to get into that and explore more of your thoughts on that aspect. So thank you very much, Jeremy. Thank you very much, man. Another
Thanks,
week
sir.
we made it.
Another week, brother.
Consistency is there. So pots and beers, are stronger than ever.
Love it, love
And
it.
finally, I would say namaste for everyone.
Namaste. I love it. Thank you. And there you have it. Bots and beers. Another week in the books. I'm getting us out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Check us out Spotify. Check us live on YouTube. Back next week. Later, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!